Hello, everybody. I am Connor from Black Valley Studios, and welcome to another custom showcase. This time on my little buddy Crook. Now, Crook is an interesting character. Just like Casey, he was made last minute. Yeah, that tends to be the case with a lot of my characters. Or at least these two. So, let's go ahead and get into how I made him. But before I do that, I want to go into how he'll play a part in my series. Essentially, Crook, as I'm calling him, works at the coal depot on my line. He is the one who runs it. He is the one who is in charge of operating it. And he is just, I don't know. I'll have to figure out his personality, but from what I want to do, maybe have him, uh, on like first impressions, he's sort of like a jerk. I don't know. I still have to write it out, but, yeah, let's talk about how I made him. So, Rook was made using a scruff. Yeah, he was made using a scruff model, as you can see from the green on the bottom. And okay, let me give some quick history real quick on the first edition of Black Valley. On the first edition of Black Valley, you could see my old Twitter account, which I don't use anymore. Some of the first posts included a character named Ash, and he was made using this exact scruff. But when I left the original Black Valley Railway in the dust, I just had this model laying around with nothing planned for it. So I thought I would turn it into something that I could use, like Crook here. Now let me just bring him over here, and we'll go ahead and get into his details. So as you can see, Rook is painted in a, I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like a dark suede color. I think that's how you pronounce it. Essentially, I was trying to make a color for my box cars, and I mixed gray, brown, orange, red, and black into one of my empty, like one of the big black paint tubes. And then I ended up with this color, which I didn't like. And then I ended up looking at the spare model I had of Scruff and thought, I'll give it a shot, I'll paint it, and now we have Crook. So, I don't know how to describe it, but, yeah, so, if you know anything about Scruff, you'll see something different about this guy here. So with the original Wooden Railway Scruff, it has something in the front, like a plastic piece, that slants. That's not present on this model, because Crook is not a member of Scruff's class. He is a freelance design. He is essentially, if you want to go as far as to calling him a contractor engine, then sure, be my guest. But he is a one-off build made for coal depots. And, the controller of my railway, Mr. Allard, actually commissioned a steamy to run the coal depot, someone that would be efficient, small, and, overall just a great worker. And Crook here was made. So that's essentially his backstory. Now let's get into the details. I know I've been saying that. Let's actually get into the details here. So, oh shit, hold on. Damn it, here, I'll save that for last. But, as you can see, a pretty simple character, honestly. I just painted him up in the weird color that I had. He looks really nice, honestly. As you can see, I also gave him a black funnel and a focus please, and a brass cap on his funnel. Gotta make sure I include funnel. That way, you know, I don't get comments saying, "Oh, you called it a dome in your last video." I corrected myself. So, and this was actually done today. Let me just go to the back here. I added a window, and added windows up in the front here. They're uneven. I will admit they are uneven. If you look like this, they are uneven. But I'm fine with it. I don't usually do those kinds of details often, so this is good for me. He has doors. I didn't really care about the door design because, again, he's a one-off build. And I also didn't give him buffer beams. I probably should. But works for me. So now, the face. I don't remember who said it, but I agree. The face is the most important part of an engine besides their design. And I went with was this an airy or Burt face? I believe it was an airy face. Let me see real quick. I don't have it on me. Well, I believe this is an airy face. I decided to go with an airy face because I thought it fit. I thought it suited him, and I didn't want to do like a small square face like a Toby or a Rusty. So why not? And yeah, okay. So I also painted his wheels in that same color. I painted this because I was gonna add a name, but I forgot to. And great planning. So, what else do I want to say? Oh, right. I added clear nail polish to the wheels. And if you remember in my Casey video, I said I didn't do anything to the wheels because they were already black. If I were to paint them in the midnight color, then he would get the nail varnish treatment. So, yeah. Now, if you want to know what I knocked off at the beginning of the details, it was... Here, let me move this back. You won't... I don't know if you'll be able to really tell what it is. But if you can tell, if you've ever seen Five Nights at Smudgers, if you've ever seen any like fan models of the character Stanley, the narrow gauge engine, you would know that he has a cigar in his mouth. So in some cases, it's a bullet shell. I decided to give Crook a... Shit, let me just put that on real quick. Oh, come on. There we go. So now, yeah, he has a cigar in his mouth. And I thought it would be interesting because, you know, he works at the coal depot. He's surrounded by, let's be honest, you'd be surrounded by shit that gives you black lung. So, and I think, honestly, it suits his character. I think part of his character really comes from his name. People often turn heads when they hear his name is Crook because you'd immediately think like a criminal. But Crook is actually not a bad guy. He just has that name. And he doesn't care if anyone, you know, thinks bad about him. Whatever, that's him. He just does not give a flying fuck, which is awesome. Comparing him to models, like I did in my last video. Okay, let's move him back here. Son of a bitch. Alright, so setting him there, comparing him to models like Simon. They compare pretty well. I mean, you know, obviously he's a smaller engine. He's a 040. You know, it's pretty good, pretty good. Comparing him to Miles. Honestly, I think a good scale, pretty good scale. In the future, I might want to make this guy a bigger model. I don't know. But right now, I think he's a good size. And then comparing him, let me go back to Casey. Casey and him might be friends. I don't know. It just really depends on if I want to write a story about these two. But, yeah. I think, you know, there's so much story potential for Crook. And I love it. I love the idea of a one-off build, working at a coal depot. I don't know. I just imagine this. You just hear this deep voice with like a lot of grit, a lot of gruff, whatever the word is, with a lot of grit to his voice. And you just, you know, you're trying to find out who the voice belongs to, and it belongs to this guy with a fucking cigar in his mouth. Probably that's what caused it. So, yeah, this guy has a lot of potential. This guy has a lot of potential. And why not? We'll throw in this guy, who will get his own custom model showcase one day, probably in the future. But yeah, let me just move him out of the way. Go to the sheds, dingus. Now, I know this showcase was long for no reason. But again, like I said in my last video, I'm back. And I will be back as long as I can be. So, yeah. I hope that you guys enjoy this video. I hope you guys welcome Crook to the family. And with that being said, I'm Connor. This is Crook, signing out.